Okay. Excuse me a second. Let me just make sure this is decently placed. All right. Okay. So this is going to be one of those things that might make a few people upset, but it doesn't really matter. I think it's a conversation that needs to happen. It's a conversation that happens at least all the time with clients, with customers. So I think if I put it in a video, it is something I can send them to watch and I guess make my point. But I invite you to disagree with me with what I'm about to say, the things I'm going to show, and we can have a respectful disagreement, on the comments below. So, why do I say that pickups are mostly marketing? I'm going to start with the story because I think that's the best way to illustrate this whole thing, at least for me. I worked for First Sam Ash for like 9 years, almost 10 years. Well, and then Guitar Center for like 3 or 4 more. And I worked in the guitar department mostly. I was a manager for them and whatnot, so I dealt with a lot of complaints. I dealt with a lot of really special cases. And I had a particular coworker of mine, friend, who was amazing at selling guitars. He was the best. We used to have competitions all the time on how many units you can sell, and he would always kick ass and he would get prizes, free guitars, and what have you. I mean, the guy had a talent for selling instruments. And in more than one occasion, I had the opportunity to see what he was doing because it was just, I mean, to put it lightly, let's say that a good sales guy could do maybe 2 or 3 guitars in a day during the holidays. For him, we would put stacks of acoustic guitars, stacks, like 50 guitars, 60 guitars on a stack for, let's say, Christmas. And within one day or two, they would be gone. That's how awesome this guy was. But one of the things that I noticed on the way that he sells, he never just sold the instrument. He sold the story behind the instrument. Of course, some instruments have better stories. They are for different people. And some instruments really you have to come up with one because they don't have a story. So what am I talking about with this whole story thing? Well, I remember specifically one time this guy walks into the store and he obviously wants something really high end. My friend used to work in the acoustic department, so he had access to really rare gems all the time. And since he was the guy that was basically in charge of the acoustic department, when something really special came in, he wouldn't really put it out on display. He would save it for the special guy, the special customer. The customer would walk in, he would detect somehow, he would know that this client didn't want a run of the mill guitar. He didn't want that one that was on a pile. He didn't want one that was touched. He wanted something really, really special. So let's start off by saying, "Hey, listen, I'm going to go to the back and I'm gonna show you something that I've been saving for myself." That's how the conversation started. And the guy would be like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" "Yeah, I just didn't want to bring out this guitar because I don't want people to touch it. I'm thinking about buying it for myself." I think he was honest when he would say things like that because he did have a huge guitar collection, but it was part of the story. Then he would go to the back, get the guitar, put it in the counter, and then he would open up the case. And it was hilarious to me because he would open up the case, right? Then take 2 steps back, and then just look at the guitar and admire it like you would, like some guys at a barbecue drinking beer because you just bought yourself a brand new gigantic grill with the stove and I don't know 50-inch long grill grid or something. It was something alike, right? The guy's opening the case, he's walking back, and he's going. At that point, that customer is in that story big time. He's like, "I can't believe there's a guitar that is so special that this guy who is an expert in guitars put it in the back because he wants it for him." And again, I don't think that was dishonest. That was true. And it had, you name it, Bubinga back, super high-end spruce tops, etc., etc. The guitar was sold before the guy played a chord. I saw him sell guitars that were $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 in a similar way with a story. And I think in a very similar manner, guitar pickups are exactly that. They are these stories that guitar pickup makers, guitar brands, like to tell us musicians, us guitar players. And why do I say that? Because in the case of a guitar, let's say there's a lot more to it that is unique, right? You're talking about uh, species, not only species of wood, but a particular tree. Like there, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of crazy things that you can find online, look up the tree. There's a mahogany tree that was gigantic. Like you could fit, I think, a family of 12 inside the bottom. The foundation of this tree is huge, and it's called the tree. If you look up for the tree mahogany, you'll find it. And a guitar made with that wood is worth ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, it was cut, I think, like over like 50, 60 years ago. They took forever for them to get it out of the forest. That might be a sad story depending on who you are. But getting wood from that tree today and making a guitar out of that wood is special because there's only one of those trees that we know of. I mean, that tree, that's why it's called the tree. But that whole idea of exclusivity of like, oh, no, you cannot get that again, does not exist in guitar pickups. What are guitar pickups? Guitar pickups are magnets. Obviously, this is a kind of magnet. This is ceramic. These ones are neodymium magnets, the little tiny ones, and coil. I actually I tried to fix this pickup a long time ago, and I broke it trying to fix it. So that's why it's perfect for the what I am trying to convey today. That's all it is. It's just a bunch of wire wrapped around a magnet. Now you would say, yeah, but there's got to be some science to it. What if it's scatter wound? How tight you pull the wire and all that stuff? Yeah, you're right. There is some tricks to doing a pickup the right way. As a matter of fact, um, if you could do the formula of a guitar pickup. You know, let's say a PAF. You're supposed to do 5,000 with 42 gauge wire, 5,000 spins around the coil per side for the neck. For the neck, yeah, for the neck. And a pickup could actually be terrible. And there's other factors like if you didn't pot the pickup, for example, or if when you were doing the winding, because it could happen, you damaged it a little bit and part of the coil is kind of dead. Those things could happen, but most of the time, pickups sound bad when they're not potted and when you have magnetic issues, which is something that I've found even on brand pickups where one pole, let's say that all the poles are supposed to be facing north on this side. As you know, magnets have north and south. All the poles are supposed to, and then you have all of them north except for one. That actually happened. I don't know if that guitar was repaired and then they put the pickup back in there, the magnet back in there wrong. But those are basically the reasons why a pickup could sound bad. But when it comes to technology, it's just super basic. This is another example of a pickup. This one came out of a Squier guitar. I'm pretty sure it was a Squier Telecaster that I had in the shop for years. And this one uses a ceramic pickup just glued to the bottom. People also say when it comes to pickups that it matters if you use poles or if you use screws, that it sounds different. And that's another lie. It's just another marketing scheme. The reason why there's screws and poles is because that's how it started. And at the end of the day, the screws allow you to do some adjustments to the height of the, let's call them poles, so that you can more or less fine tune the volume of the strings. So technically speaking, you could have a pickup that has screws on both sides, and it could sound different, but because you're messing with the height of the screws, not because there's a different sonic component on a screw versus a pole. That's part of the marketing BS that I'm talking about. Another thing about pickups that tends to grind my gears is that people talk about not using the right materials. Oh, like if you don't use nickel in the back of the humbucker, then the humbucker is no good. And says who? As a matter of fact, This is a custom pickup made by an Argentinian builder, and it doesn't have nickel or bronze. He actually has some circuit boards that he prints so that they can be quick connected onto guitars. And this is a great little pickup. At the end of the day, the only reason why pickups are not changing too much is because the market of guitar players doesn't like change. But you can make a pickup out of almost anything. I've made pickups out of mahogany. This is a single coil P90 kind of pickup that I built a while ago. I made a few. This one obviously is not completed, but there's a guitar that you can find on my page with this style of pickups. And those pickups sound absolutely great. And they're made out of mahogany. And if somebody's going to sit there and tell me, oh, the mahogany gives it a different tone, then you've fallen for the marketing scam. It's marketing. Now, I ask you, why then would companies that are starting out, like a builder that's starting out, or somebody that's already been doing it for years, then not notice if it's such a obvious thing, something that you can research, something that you can experiment with, and still fall for the scam, still buy the high-end pickups, still do the custom shop pickups and whatnot? Because at the end of the day, they can use the brand recognition of those pickups to get you to try out their guitars. I mean, think about this for a second. I make a guitar that is completely alien to you, like alien shape, alien bridge, alien everything, because I'm coming out from scratch. Like this one that I'm doing. Let me show. Just real quick. This one that I'm building, like completely different woods, something that you never see on guitars. At least I haven't seen on guitars in the U.S. This is a palm wood fretboard. Obviously walnut, but palm wood on the fretboard. That's so crazy. That's so different. So I'm making something super weird, and it would be a lot easier to sell that guitar if all of a sudden I combine my crazy idea with some familiar brands. So if I put Seymour Duncan pickups on that guitar, which by the way I'm not going to, then somebody who is going to try the guitar is going to have a preconceived notion, a part of the story that I've been talking about in their head, and go like, oh, Seymour Duncan. Whatever they think about Seymour Duncan. Some people will be like, oh, those are for metal, or that's for jazz. Whatever, because everybody has a different story, but they have a story in their head. Seymour Duncan, oh, that's good. Let me try it. Yeah, I can hear the Seymour Duncan tone. And that's going to help me sell. But I don't like to do that. I find that to be I don't know what the word would be. First of all, I think it's a little dishonest to myself, because I got into this because I love creating. I love the process of designing something from scratch. And so I don't want to do generic stuff. I don't think I could do it for too long. It would just drive me crazy. But the other reason why I don't do it is because it also limits you on what you can do with your design. If I am designing a guitar with a really weird neck joint, let's say, where also the last one I designed features exactly this. The neck doesn't goes the last fret, let's say, it's not straight. The neck has a cutout that goes into a pickup that is on an angle. So if you were to do something like that, how are you going to use these pickups? You can't. So that is exactly why I think I can't bring myself to just, oh yeah, I'm going to buy Seymour Duncan's, I'm going to buy all these things and call it a day. Now, am I saying here that it's not worth buying custom shop pickups, or they bring nothing of value to the guitar market? No, of course they can. I think one of the things that they can bring, and why I say they do have a space in the guitar market, is because they can bring some consistency. A guy in his shop, like myself, making these P90s, for example, can never truly guarantee they're going to sound exactly the same, because I don't do it with a CNC. I do it by hand. And sometimes the materials that I source could be slightly different. Like the wire, instead of 42, I can have 43, because that's what I have in hand, et cetera, et cetera. Well, a custom shop pickup builder has formulas that they really follow. Kind of like, if I were to give you an analogy, we can say, or at least this is my opinion too, that McDonald's is not the best food in the world, right? There's obviously food out there that's way better, but you know exactly how the burger is going to taste when you go to McDonald's because they follow a formula. So of course it's not gourmet, of course it's not going to blow your mind, but you know what to expect. And that is kind of why brand pickups, custom shop pickups are important to the world of guitars. All right, so that's going to be it for this second guitar rambling. As I said, you are welcome to disagree and fight me in the comments.